parts of the world. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning to everyone that is joining us at this moment. I am Ayomiko Alawo, and another episode of News Review brought to you by Wizomia Television. And this is me doing this not alone, but with moving follower. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well.
When is here inside the studio this morning, and I was like, where is Maria Magdalene Kilo Shele? I'm really willing people can see what she's wearing from the beginning to the end. Kilo Shele.
Now I'm just in solidarity with our Muslim brothers and sisters.
That's true.
Yeah, that's why.
Ramadan has started.
Exactly.
Ramadan Kareem to all my Muslim brothers and sisters. I wish you the fruitfulness of this month. Amen. And we'll all be a part of the blessing that has been embedded in this month. It will not pass us by the grace of Allah.
Amen.
And today we have several newspapers, but because time is not on our side, we just have to do it bit by bit and round things off in time. On Punch newspaper, we have the following headlines. NLC protests, CBN flood banks with old Naira notes. UK to list electoral offenders plans section. Hypertensive man dies as hoodlums invade Lagos home. China holds upper hand in Russian gas exports. Ondo government sets up 2023 census advocacy committee. Vanguard newspaper has the following headlines. INEC used third-party device to switch results for Tinubu Atiku. Lagos APC to revival, go to court, stop grandstanding. PDP has no candidate to win election in Lagos, Fayoshe. Ramadan, Atiku asks Muslims to pray for Nigeria, says nation at crossroad. Aggrieved parties filed 25 petitions before Lagos Election Tribunal. Court jails opposition leader for defaming India's Prime Minister. The Daily Post has the following headlines. Those arrested for electoral malpractice, Kaduna released without charge. Shehu Soni. Tinubu versus Obi and Atiku. Nothing has changed in Nigeria since 1979. Fayoshe. Ramadan. Dino Melaye seeks atonement for INEC and APC. Thank you very much for staying tuned with us, and this show is being brought to you by Nopa Herbal Mixtures. So before we get into the details and move into the hot pick segment of the show, let's go on a short commercial break, after which we'll be right back. Please stay tuned.
Sweetheart. I can't afford to be late for this meeting.
Give me the same excuse every day.
I always tell you the truth every. You know I will never disappoint you.
Everyone needs a hero like Nokpa.
After Nokpa,
It is always Napa.
Nokpa for management of power.
Yeah, you're welcome back, and this is News Review brought to you by Wizomia Television. I am Ayomiko Alawo, doing this with Mofi Folua. So we'll be starting with the first news that says Tinubu versus Atiku and Obi. Nothing has changed in Nigeria since 1979, according to Fayoshe. The governor of Ekiti, the former governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayoshe, on Thursday insisted that nothing has changed in Nigeria since 1979 amid the outcome of the 2023 presidential election. So he said we should look back at the whole process of this year's election, and we should understand the fact that nothing went wrong. But what went wrong was the fact that things has been very wrong since 1979. A typical instance is the fact he gave where we have a lot of wrong things in the political sector. The politicians are actually the ones that are very, very wrong. Having an individual going back to governance over and over again without changing anything. The economic situation, the inflation, the bad education, the security issues, all of this clamor has been since way back. So it's not like something that just erupted. The bad electoral practices is not like it just started.
Of course.
It has been since then. We just need to make sure that we work towards not having it continue like that. So he actually said that There is a lot wrong with Nigeria. Since 1979, nothing has changed. I blame the majority of the problem to stakeholders and politicians because they are the one going there, you know, to fix things, and they are not even doing that.
Yeah, I feel like he's actually very right as regards the fact that the reason the whole thing is like that is because it is still the same set of people that are ruling us. If it is not me, then it has to be my son or my daughter-in-law, my niece, my cousin, you know. It's still the same set of people giving rules. Even if it's a different person, at least that person has a godfather. Godfather that has things he wants to, he has his own projects, and he's not there, so that means it is his godson that have to do it. But in another way, I feel like a lot of things has changed, even in politics, regardless of the fact that it is still the same set of people ruling us. A lot of things have actually changed. Now, a typical example is this 2023 general elections we had. In the issue of Nigeria, I don't know, it stands to be corrected. I don't think youth have been more involved than they were in the general elections we recently just had. So these things, the general elections had opened our eyes to a lot of things, and a lot of people feel like, yes, things can be different. We can do things differently. And if we check statistics, we found a lot of youth in politics. At least we found a 26-year-old female representing a constituency. So things like that, a lot of things have actually changed. But when we look at our politicians, the circle, you know, it's like a dinner table,
revolving,
like we say every time. So things have not really changed.
PDP has no candidate to win election in Lagos, according to Fayose. The former governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, said the People's Democratic Party does not have any candidate in Lagos that can win the election. And when referred back to, okay, you said there's no candidates. We have Jandor and Funke Akindele. He actually said, oh, those ones, they are doing theater. He even said specifically that Jandor, who is a former photographer of the former Lagos governor, and Funke Akindele, who is an actress. So obviously both have come on stage to just do their normal theoretical performance, that it's nothing serious. So for that fact, they saw that PDP never had a candidate.
If they had won, would he have said PDP doesn't have any candidate?
He specifically said it, that if you look at the margin between Peter Obi, Atiku, and Babaji,
Peter Obi,
Tinubu.
Okay.
So if you look at the margin compared to the margin we have with the Lagos State Governor, Badebo, and Jandor, is even the third position that PDP took is just like, it's far-fetched.
Off one.
Exactly, it's a very, very distant third. So he was saying specifically that if they were actually up to the task, then they shouldn't be that, like, considering the fact that PDP has been in existence for a while, and it's just a party that is being reckoned with. Let's even accept the fact that people don't want to vote the personality. Some people know that it's just PDP. They don't even know who is there. They just want to put it there. But that shows that they were unable to. It's just them performing their theater.
No, I wouldn't agree, because if not that, Peter Obi made Labour Party relevant. The fight would have been. Sorry, did I say fight? Yeah. The contest would have been between Sanwo-Olu and Jandor. And judging with how before about some weeks to the governorship election, how Badebo was just coming to our faces, a lot of people got acquainted with him, and a lot of youth just felt like this is our messiah. But we cannot forget the fact that Sanwo-Olu actually did a lot of good things in Lagos State. So they just felt like, okay, now it is not about the party, or let's just vote for somebody we've seen his works,
the capability,
exactly the competence of this person. So if actually Badebo wasn't in the picture, I'm sure a lot of people would have gone for Jandor, but I feel like they had a better option. That's why they just have to vote for Labour Party. It does not mean like they did not make any.
Labour Party was actually very distant.
That doesn't even mean that Jandor and Funke did not make any relevance. No, I wouldn't even agree to that.
I would say he's just talking from a point of I wouldn't want to use the word aggrieved, but fine, he was never in support, not even of Atiku.
He even said he's unapologetical about his support for Tinubu.
Exactly.
So if he says anything
for that
about
reason, we wouldn't expect much. Aggrieved parties filed 25 petitions before Lagos Election Tribunal. The aggrieved parties have so far filed 25 petitions before the Lagos State National and State House of Assembly Election Petition Tribunal. According to the report, in one of the petitions, the candidates of the Labour Party for the Federal House Assembly in about 7 constituencies in Lagos are challenging the Independent National Electoral Commission, the APC, and the declared winner of the constituency. The candidates in their various constituencies are challenging the winner of Oshodi, Isolo, Koshofe, Lagos Mainland, Surulere, Shomolu, Mushin, and Ikorodu. In their petition that was filed by their council, they're actually charging them on the basis of non-compliance of INEC with the Professional Electoral Act 2022. And these people have just made the right thing. They felt they are not okay with the old verdict by INEC, and they felt, let's go to the courts for redress. At least they are not on the street shouting and protesting.
Exactly.
So I think I love that.
Yeah, it is.
Exactly. The next one we have coming from Dino Melaye. Dino Melaye has taken to his Twitter handle to seek atonement for INEC and APC. You know, Dino can actually be a superstar. Let me call him a superstar because he is one person that actually, you know, he had this, it was on our faces during the whole collation. Both for the governorship and the presidency, it was always like, no, this is it, it's not that one.
Mr. Chairman, upload the results.
Exactly. Senator Dino Melaye, one of the spokespersons for Atiku Abubakar, presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, has used the month of Ramadan to seek the face of God for the Independent National Electoral Commission and APC to be able to right their wrong. In his prayer, which is contained in a post via his Twitter, he said that, he said, and I quote, "Happy Ramadan, oh God, use this holy period to right the wrongs of INEC and APC. We pray thee the Lord. Amen." And let me just say amen too, because everybody that feels like there was any wrong during the whole process of the election, or anyone that feels like somebody has done me bad, this is a month, you know, to let go of all of our excesses, our grief, all the aggrieved governors too. I think by this time they should also, you know, move to God and forget everybody that has you know, in one way or the other offended them. And I like the way Dino Melaye is actually praying for them, because even the Bible says that we should pray for our enemies. And I want to believe that's the same thing we have.
Are you trying to say that Dino is enemies with INEC and...
Not like enemies. At least the people he saw them like people that are against him. So, and God says we should pray for them still, because when we pray for them, you know, we'll be bringing blessing upon ourselves. So it's good that you're actually following.
INEC has actually caused a lot of than good. Okay. And INEC has, if I want, let me just say it this way, INEC has incurred a lot of enemies because of this 2023 general election. I just hope that God, maybe because of, for the sake of this Ramadan period, God will look down, forgive INEC, because even if they did not do those things, at least they were not transparent. So we didn't get explanations to it. We didn't get justifications to those things. Okay. So we can't even beat our chest that no, INEC did this or INEC did not do this. So Dino has prayed for them. I just hope that Allah accepts their prayers.
Allah will sure accept. And still in the mood of Ramadan, Atiku asks Muslim to pray for Nigeria, says nation at crossroad. The People's Democratic Party's candidate, presidential candidate under the umbrella of People's Democratic Party, I think I said that earlier, has actually charged the Muslim to please, in their prayers during this holy month, pray for Nigeria, because at this moment we are at the crossroad, and even for the fact that the country just finished election and a lot of things that's happened, where we have a lot of casualties recorded, attacks, and some people died during the whole process. So he's seeking the face of Muslims to at least add Nigeria into the whole prayer and seek for the face of God to shine upon the country, you know, right our wrongs. And at the same time, for things that are not going well should start going well. The economy, our education, and for the leaders that has been appointed too, they should pray to God to allow them to be able to do the will of God and not the will of themselves. You know, to be able to do things in the right way that will help the citizens and will not have to go back to the slavery that we've been in right now. So
I don't even think any newly elected leader, whether governor or representative of the house and all of those things, should even think of doing anything bad to anybody in this country, because if only the person is inhuman. Okay. You get, because a lot of we experienced a lot of things in the country. The country has been so hard on everybody. It might not be hard on the newly elected leaders here, but for every citizen, every grassroots, everybody at the grassroots, the country has been so hard on us. I just hope that I'm actually praying as well that this time, you know, it was just, we just finished the election, and by the time the old Ramadan will be off, we'll be getting to swear in a lot of people. Maybe they would repent repent of their sins and just decide that yes, I want to do good for the people of this country, because the shege is too much. It's just
and even we're praying that this month will actually help us cleanse the all the problems that we have in Nigeria. And also protest CBN to flood banks with old Naira notes. If you should recall that the CBN has later come out to say that, okay, Nigerians, you can continue spending the money. But on this table, we discussed about the fact that, fine, they said we can continue spending the money. But the money is not in circulation. What do we do about that? And it has been noticed that even after consulting with several traders and Nigerians, we got to know that people don't even have access to this money. Why? Because of the limitation, and for the fact that when they still get to bank, they still ask them for a particular code, generated code, to be able to deposit their old Naira notes. So it's making it quite tough on people. And
there was still a limit on the withdrawal. There was still a limit.
But earlier this week, the NLC came out with other people under NLC, the ASU, the All Labour Congress, came out to say that they will be staging a protest, to take over CBN. And I think CBN actually
take over.
Taking over a protest. If a protest is coming up, then it has the power to take over, not like take CBN from them. But okay, now, so I think the CBN got quite scared that no, we wouldn't allow this to come up, and decided, okay, let's just find a way to sort things out. So yesterday, in a meeting, of which we're still waiting for them to give the official memo, the CBN actually said anything that has to do with cash limit is cancelled during the meeting. So according to sources that were present during the meeting, I said that the cash limits will be cancelled and the money, the old notes, will be dispensed today to all banks. So now we're hoping that by tomorrow, banks will start coming out to say that, okay, we have money. And Nigerians will not have to suffer for all of this again. And though we don't know what the NLC are still planning to do, whether they will be like, okay,
retract their planned protest,
or they will still go for the protest. And they were even planning, I saw the news where ASU is planning to strike. They are planning to go on another strike, and I don't even want to see that again. ASU strike has added up to here for me.
As regards the Naira scarcity and CBN's no order, although they've not sent the official statement, but at least Emefiele has been quoted saying that CBN will start dispensing the money to banks. I think the best thing on every Nigerian's lips right now is because
but I'm sorry to cut you.
Okay.
My question is now like this: if the old cash limit goes back, and we start spending old Naira notes, why do you have to put Nigerians in bondage? Like I feel before any policy is being made, this is something the new leaders should look into, and the ones that are returning, at least they are using a new term, they should look into. Before you make any policy, look at the visibility of its implementation. Look at how the people of the country would not suffer with your policy. Even if they will suffer, let them see reasons for suffering. And the suffering should not be a prolonged one. It should be a suffering that would have a kind of communication.
That would be worth it.
That would be worth it. Because at the end of the day, these people have suffered enough. And at the end, you're coming back to say, okay, the old cash limits, the old money that you had to go kill, that a lot of people died in banks, that a lot of people had to burn some banks had to lose a lot of money, that individual even had to faint, get sick. Old people that are supposed to be fathers stripping themselves in banks, disgracing their family, or even elderly people crying in banks because they can't have access to their money. Because of all of these things has happened and nothing is coming out of it. POS people having to charge exorbitantly, having Nigerians to buy money with money, who work hard just to make money, use the money to buy new money. Like, this is just something I can't even wrap my head around. So I feel before they bring on any policy or any kind of policy at all, let me put it that way, they should look into it. Is this thing visible? Can we go on with it? Hope we will not have issues at the end of it. Hope Nigerians will not have to cry. And all of this, because this is just not worth it. And I'm not an advocate of CBN and all of them again. I loved them before, but now
you still love them.
No, I don't.
Judging with everything you just said, at least the whole thing has come to a halt.
To some extent.
Judging with the new directive and everything, so the pains of every Nigerian would subdue to an extent. At least would be able to spend our money. I'm not restricted to how much I can withdraw. It's just that we've all suffered in vain, and our suffering has not worth anything at all. We thank God that at least fine, we recorded a lot of casualties during the whole redesigning process, and it was so sad that a lot of people had to die in the process. But at least what if they say, hey, you push still be suffering? There's nothing we can do.
Thank God for Supreme Court.
Thank God. Now imagine since Supreme Court gave an order, imagine the time frame to when CBN is just giving its own directive. So they just feel like, now, okay, you have suffered enough. Oh yeah, let me release you. Now is the right time to. It's just like that. So I'm actually very happy that there's a new development as regards the money. A lot of people have even been scammed. If I tell you that, mommy, I want to eat, don't worry, I've made transfer, and it's a lie. In fact, a lot of things has gone down with the whole Naira redesign policy. But thank God, at least we can smell now.
Exactly. Let's take this last one. It's quite breaking. Ekweremadu and wife found guilty of organ trafficking. If you should recall, a former Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu and his wife Beatrice have been found guilty of organ trafficking in the United Kingdom. The duo, alongside their daughter Sonia and a medical doctor, Dr. Obinna Obeta, were found guilty of facilitating the travel of a young man to Britain with a view of to exploit him after 6-week trial at the Old Bailey. They criminally conspired to bring the 21-year-old Lagos street trader to London to exploit him of his kidney. The jury found on Thursday, and the Judge Justice Jeremy Johnson will pass a sentence at a later date, according to reports. And they have been seen to. The whole process was that their daughter was quite sick, and she was unable to finish her schooling because of the kidney issue. Yeah. And because of that, they decided that, okay, they need a donor. But for the fact, the doctor actually advised them to get a donor that is a family. So they took this 21-year-old Lagos street trader to London, all in the guise. And when they got there, they posed the guy as being their cousin, of which is not. So a lot of things transpired, and the whole case has been since last year, because they've been arrested since last year in the United Kingdom. So now we have them, they found them guilty. So all basis that they proved that, okay, they actually had to do that because of this, because of that, because of the love of the child. Yeah. But at the expense of someone, you saw this person as being vulnerable, promising him money. For what? For his own organ. That at the end of the day, without consent, because at the end of the day, it might actually not be that both organs were working. What if you take one and the other one is not working?
No, they would have tested him.
Apparently, that's true. But then we need to not be selfish as a leader. This is not even only about you being a leader, a president, or anything. We should not be too selfish. And every other thing, I just hope that the verdict is passed as soon as possible. I hope so too. And if now that he has been found guilty, of course they will meet every necessary should I say punishment or whatever he's supposed to face. They will meet it out, and this is just coming to every one of us as should I say an advice that there's a limit to how we can treat other people, and we should be careful in our dealings, in our doings. Anything that is illegal, we should not involve ourselves in it, and we should be very, very careful. Yes, my thoughts are with Ekweremadu. Exactly. Our thoughts are with everybody and everyone out there that is observing the Ramadan fast. We pray that the Almighty Allah will give you the strength to be able to go on with it. And before we go on the show, I would like to bring to your remembrance, by 5:30 p.m. today on this platform, we'll be having what we call Ramadan special. Though it's not only 5:30, we had the program earlier during the time of what's it called? Sahur in the morning, where we had people, clerics, men of God, trying to admonish us and give several preaching in Islamic way in the morning. And the same thing around 12:10 p.m. and this would continue every day until the end of the whole Ramadan. So by 5:30 p.m. they will also be joining us here on this platform, to give you admonishment and to also strengthen your faith during this period. And don't you forget that there is a room to get amazing gifts. Even if I'm not joining for anything, you see that gift? For the gifts. I have packed one place in my house. I am storing gifts there. So I want you to also be part of those that will be getting gifts. Amazing gifts. So I was giving gifts yesterday. I talked about Adzie, I talked about Asho, I talked about money, and all that is, let me keep the rest. If you want to be a partaker of all these amazing things, just make sure you're joining, calling and answering few questions in the Islamic way, and you're good to go. Isn't that amazing? Amazing. So until tomorrow, until
tomorrow, yeah.
I think today's Friday.
No,
but
today's
Thursday.
Friday.
Until tomorrow, that we'll be having news review again. Please do have an amazing time and a tranquil day ahead.